Okay, guys, let's start. We have 3 talks today. First, welcome back from the holidays. We haven't met for almost a month. Today, Yaniv will start with a talk about the fields in general, our objectives, and how the management perspective of the guild. Then Ophir will talk about test kits and utilities he added to Jasmine to enable easier testing. And last, Sergey, Amitai is here. He will be here. Amitai is a server developer, and Ayelet, who's the UX in the CX company, will talk about invoices. It's a new product that the CX team is planned to release in about 2 weeks, right? Something open 2 weeks, probably earlier, hopefully earlier. Some updates on meetups we had. Sergey was in Ukraine and talked. What was the name of the? No, but what was the name of the conference?
Framework Days.
Framework Days. Was JavaScript only or general?
It was Angular and React only.
Okay, and Yaniv Efraim is talking. He's not here. He's with the Premium. The Premium is in a fund day, their company fund day, so they're not here. I thought you managed the fund days. But they're saying there's a lot of fun, so I said, fun.
That's why.
What?
That's why they're having fun.
And so Yaniv is giving a talk next week in Google Campus about migrating to Angular 2.0. It's the same talk he gave us about a month ago. And Shachar, Alon, Yechezkel, and Gil Amran are currently in Google Connect conference in London. And something new next week, we're going to try a new concept. We will not do any talk next week. And instead, we're going to meet in the morning and we're going to work on tasks. And the way we're going to do it, some of you already are assigned to guild tasks. So we're going to continue as usual during the day from here to work on guild tasks. But many of us don't have guild tasks. So the idea is that you can suggest an idea during next week. I will share a spreadsheet where each of you can add an idea that he wishes to work on during this day. Or it's not just one day, it can continue for a few days. And your idea can be anything from like a code review, refactoring that you want to do, test coverage you want to do on a code you did lately, maybe to do a POC on a cool technology that you wish to check. And another thing is develop a tool or something for the infrastructure, a feature that you wish to add to the infrastructure. This is basically like adding an ng issue, the standard Angular issue to our project. But the idea is that if you're raising an issue you want to work out, you must pair with someone. Okay, so in the morning we'll do like a hackathon. If you want to suggest something or you're looking, you have to say what you want, and someone you have to convince someone to join you to work on it. Okay, so we'll be working. Many of us will be working in pairs, and we're going to try it out. And if it works good, we'll continue and try this concept. And that's it. Thank you.
Good morning. So, about 2 years ago, we realized that if we want to execute our startup, we need to transform. So 2 years ago, we realized that in order to
So maybe hear me? Okay. So 2 years ago, we realized that if you want to execute our strategy, we need to transform from a company that has one product to several products. And we understand that we want to develop the best products in each of those new products we want to execute. Now, when you have one product, all the focus of the management, engineering, all the company are focused on that. We are going to develop the dozens of products that become much more complex. And this is why we decided that we want to have dedicated groups, what we call companies, that each of them is focused on one product, is responsible to do the execution and the roadmap of this product, and to be expert in this field of the domain of this product. And of course, we knew that those products we need to also have a high quality, support a large scale users. And we understand that if we just tell each of the companies do it, then there's no benefit than any other startup out there, and they will not be able to compete with it. So this is the place that we put the guild in the picture. And basically, the principle of the guild is to be the foundation that enables us to scale the organization, to create more products, but still know that we have a way to do it in the right way and solid infrastructure. And back then, when Avishai and me presented the change, this slide is from that time. Of course, we learned a lot from that time, but still, if we're looking on what we put ourselves as the objectives of the responsibility of the guild, I can say that each of them is still valid, and we focus on most of them. So we want to have expert groups that allow us to create excellent products that make sure that we are not doing things again and again and again in each of the companies, that we leverage our code and our methods and best of practices. And we also put the focus on how we make sure that each of the engineers or each of the guild members in different guilds is also as a professional development and not only focus on the product side. Now, if you look on what we define today as the responsibilities, so one of the main goals is to make sure that we develop and we build the products in high quality, but we also keep improving the velocity. And if you look at the challenges that you have as a, let's say, as a site developer, it doesn't matter if you develop hotels, restaurants, or shout-out. The same challenges come again and again. And if we improve, for example, the build time or the testing time, that's give benefits to all the developers and all the different products. Of course, we know that in order to prevent us from doing things again, we need a solid framework, we need tools that will allow each of the products to focus on the product, business case and business goals, and will allow us to know that what we are doing is something that's going to work very good on production. And of course, the issue of knowledge share. When we develop, we tackle many things that could be browser-specific or domain-specific and not related to the product. If we're sharing the knowledge between us, we save for others the time to spend on doing it by themselves. And this could be, again, a benefit of working together. Now, part of growing is bringing more people, bringing more engineers to the company. And we want to bring the top talent engineers to the company. Without this, there is no way to grow. And this is another responsibility of the Gates member, of all the Gates member, to make sure that we speak and we work with the community to tell them about things that we are doing. We are doing great things in Wix, and we want to that every developer, whenever we have a development center, Ukraine or Israel, to know that Wix is the best place to work at. And after we bring those people to training, so again, there was a lot of work on making sure that people that come into Wix are well trained, and there is lots of activity now on the training kit, and we're going to have Kickstart very soon. And those things are very important. Again, when we join forces and do it together, then everybody get the gains of getting people which can start to be productive very fast. And of course, the issue of professional development, of knowledge transfer, of going to conferences and meetups and workshops and things like that to make sure that we evolve in our professional field. So basically, we're saying that the guilds are starting to form before the people joining with on the recruitment, on building the brand. When we join all the issue of training, and we have the concept of guild master. We'll speak about it in a minute. And that also helping whenever it's needed on a daily basis at different places. And there is issue of dedicated time. It could be a guild day, it could be other formats, there's different formats, but we know that in order to have effective and impact on the activity of the guild, we need to have a dedicated time, a quality time to make progress. So we have the concept of guild masters. Guild masters are basically people that are dedicated to the guild. So they're not working within the company or the product and have some time with the guild, but they are working only on the guild. And what they can do is first help companies when we start a new product. They can be the seed for those. They can help companies when they have challenges and things they need help. Because they're working with different companies, they can help knowledge transfer and verify where our things can be leveraged together and can be done together. And sometimes, as you know, there are tasks that cannot be done on a guild day or any ad hoc. And we need a dedicated people that will do those tasks on an ongoing basis and make sure that things that was done that for the UI, for example, there was a lot of efforts on the guild to promote this. But this is something that we continue to have things. We need to finalize things, and we need to know that we don't need to wait now another month to the next time that we'll gather the guild and we can advance on those things. So if we're looking at what we're still missing, and I speak now about your guild. For example, the guild master concept is very solid on the backend guild, which started way before the NG guild. But we did a lot of progress in the last for all the wider guilds. But we still missing something, missing resources and dedicated resources. On the guild itself, again, that could be doing the guild work and do the infrastructure work. We all know we have challenges on build, on testing, on deploy, on many things. But we need people that will promote it and make sure that all of you get solutions for those things. It cannot be done on ad hoc basis. And we all believe to be a guild master, and then we started a cashier project. So you started to help them, and it's in 5 months already. So we're doing amazing work there, and this is a very strategic project for us. But of course, we want to make sure that they have their dedicated resources and you can do the job that guild masters should do and other companies as well. We also have, I think, challenges of how we're doing. There is another big group of client developers working on the editor or the blog, which work on different stack on the React. But still, there are many, many things that can join force together and learn from each other and do things together, and we need to advance in those things. And there's also, of course, the model of what is the time dedication. I will make sure that we are effective as a team, but the company still can execute the roadmap. And there is an advantage and disadvantage in every model. Take the guild-based model at the backend doing, there is also context switch there. It's not so easy to do that task. So we need to figure out, and I know that Itai is working on that to understand, and we need to do trial and error and see what are the best models that work for us for that. Now, basically what is important to understand that the guild is not a dedicated team, it's everyone. We are all in the guild. You're all part of the guild, you're all part of, most of you part of a company, but also part of the guild. And this is the way we see it. This is the way we see it as a management, and this is the way we manage this. So whenever we're looking on the employees, and even in evaluation process that we're doing, it's taking into account both factors. So even when there is a salary review, it will be the company manager, the guild manager, it will review the performance of the employee. So it's something we give both aspects the right attention they need. We need you to raise things that bother you on your day-to-day work, time wasters, things that make you crazy, and we need to fix them. This is the things that you face day by day, and you need to raise them. And we're speaking about what task you want to do. Those are the things that need to be raised to see how we fix them. There's sometimes quick wins, and sometimes there's no quick wins. It requires lots of work, lots of infrastructure changes. But we need to know what are the things that will make you more productive and more happy. So of course, the participation in the activities is critical. If you take the UI, for example, and the training kits, the joining of the forces, give it great impact. And we need you to be active there. We need you to be active on the meetups, conferences, and all the places that you work with the community. And this is very important for us to be able to get the talent to Wix. Okay, we're saying this. Most of the people that we want to work at Wix are not looking for a job now. They are not sending CVs. They are working, and we still want them to know that this is better place for them to work at, and the only one that can do it is you. So be active on those parts. If you do something that is interesting enough, write a blog post on that. And we are sending from time to time videos and blog posts, and we need your help on the social media because your friends are the relevant people for that. So we want you to also to be active there. Questions? Okay.
Something we noticed is that try to hire a developer, and typically this developer was the guy I work with during my work, and the way we found the food is a bit problematic because this guy started the process in the editor week, and they ran through 5 interviews, and then I think it fell because of the chemistry, the interview this guy. And when we wanted to integrate the process in our team, it was already so tired, and so he felt like nobody really looked into it, and really appreciated his developer, and decided to stop the process. And I feel we need to do it more line between the guilds, because I think in this case, it is a great development.
So I totally agree with you. First thing that I said that we don't think enough in the case. Okay. The question was about the interview process or the recruiting process and things that fall in between the chairs or between the clients and the third grade, because candidates basically are shared. And I can say in general, we have a lot of space to improve in our recruiting process. It's like too long. We know about this and we have lots of discussion how to make it much better and much more better experience for the people that want to come to Wix. And we are not good at it. We need to improve that in general, not only on the case of the client and the Fed, but also in general. And we are going to try to see how we improve it in the coming future. But about what you're saying, that's a very good point that we need to see how we tackle it. This shouldn't be the experience. Okay? We should have, let's say, a professional process that is one. That if the people is good enough, the candidate is good enough, then we know that professional will want it. And then we can see what's the best fit for it in terms of, the bias of the team, in terms of his preferences and so on. And we're not good at that. One can say that we're starting to do cooperation. Now, Italian and Amit speaking about maybe to have the next Kickstart course and the joint course. It's possible. And I will make sure that the boundary does not create a situation like you did. This is a very bad case because we don't want to lose people because of those reasons. Any other question?
Maybe a word on the mobile guild that is...
Yes, okay, so today afternoon we are doing a kickoff for what we call the mobile native guild. Till now we have one company that did major focus of it was native, and we had the shout that did application for the core of the product application. And what we see is more and more companies see the native app as an important offering for the product, whether it's from e-commerce, blog, restaurant, and many others. We'll follow that for sure. And we know that we need to make sure that we're doing it the right way. Fortunately, there is last month with the release of React Native, which helped us a lot. That doesn't require to have only iOS and Android developers, but put the area in a way that the JavaScript developer can also write native. And of course, we're going to have a core guild that works on the infrastructure, and there will be native components that we need to do. We also have some thinking about our product strategy in terms of the mobile. Are we going to have one application that's going to expose the different products? Or we're going to have, for every product, a different application that the user needs to download. And there is, of course, pros and cons for each of the methods. Currently, we're trying to explore the path of one application, which is, of course, doesn't need to be downloaded with all everything together, but there's something like on-demand download. But there is lots of challenges there of the dev cycle, the dependency, and so on between the developers. So that's something that we are going to tackle and think about in the coming weeks. And we decided that we're going to start with basically two applications. One is for the CRM, something like also a real check communication application that will allow the user to speak with his user via the mobile. And the second is the restaurant, which for them that's core thing for reservation. So those are the two that we're going to start we are going to have a joint force for everybody that's interested to help to make sure we're doing it the right way. But that's another example of how important is the key to make sure we're doing things in the right way. Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you. כל מה שאתם רואים זה פותח באינטרנט קפה בגואטמלה.
מקווה שלא.
תגדיל.
Okay, hi guys. Let's start. I'm going to do this will be a quick talk, about 15 minutes, and some best practices I learned my 2 years writing test. I don't think I improved, but I let you be the judge of it. So let's begin. How not to test your Angular application. So basically, I wrote this library with Nadav. For those of you who don't know him, he's a brilliant developer. Right now, he's in the Valley. He doesn't work at Wix anymore, so that's why the sad smiley, which is that's it. But anyway, I wrote it with him, so I'm going to talk in plural, like we did, we, and so on. Okay, so basically, what I want to show you today is a showcase of how I used to write that and what can we improve. There's nothing wrong with what you're going to see now. It still works. It tests the application right. It tests the functionality works, but we think that we can improve it. And everything is on GitHub, so you can look it up later. Okay, so wait. So the showcase will be Cat Wars. It's like an imaginary game we invented. And the first thing we need in a war is a weapon. Right? So let's see what the weapon interface should look like. It has two functions. It's a fire method and a reload. And notice that the fire is async, right? So it returns promise. Let's see an example. And the code is not relevant here, just an example of what an implementation of this interface could look like. So let's start with the fire. It has we want it to be async, so we use the $Q, and the shotgun has 2 rounds each time, right? So if the ammo is greater than 1, we use the ammo, and after a timeout, so it can be async, resolve the status, and reload just resets the ammo. Okay, pretty simple. The next thing you need in a war is our soldiers, right? So we have an animal interface with one method, async, that fire a weapon. Pretty simple. So this is our app. Let's try to test it, right? So of course in Wix we'll have TDD, so let's do it the TDD style. So first up to our first soldier is the cat. And the first step will be the green flow, right? So it should fire the weapon, return a success status. Just a normal test, I create a spy. I have an instance of a cat, I fire the weapon, then I call the spy, I do a good scope digest because it's async, and I expect the spy to have been called with cat, successfully shot the weapon. Questions? Pretty simple. Okay, but because it's a unit test, and I'm not testing the weapon, so let's smoke the weapon, right? So I'll just add a weapon mock. Weapon mock, it has a file. Basically, it implements the interface we saw in the beginning. So we use $Q and we resolve it with a status successfully show the weapon, return the promise, and before each we create the instance of the cat and we inject in we supply in the weapon mock. Now we have a red test, we can implement the cat. So the cat it gets a weapon in the constructor, it fires the weapon, and it concatenates the cat before the weapon success status. That's awesome. And the test is green, we can continue. Let's handle a failure when the weapon rejects. So again, we'll write a test, but now we need to tell the mock it should fail because previously we just did the fail result. So we decided to introduce this global variable, fire weapon successful false, basically the same test, except now we expect it to be called with cat fail to shoot a weapon. And in the mock, we fixed it a little bit, so if the fire weapon successful is true or truthy, it resolves, otherwise reject. We have a red test, we can now implement it. So we just added the failure handler and basically the same thing. So we're done with the cat. Any questions till now? Awesome. Player 2 is entered the game, the dog. I won't go over the dog, except it's down to replacing, to a search replace with the word cat with the word dog. So it has the same implementation, the same test, or even the same mock, but remember it's a different file because it's a different class, so it has different specs. Maybe in the future dog will have some other functionality that the cat doesn't. And basically the same thing. So let's reflect on what I did here. I guess that you all see such tests in the past. If you didn't, I'll be surprised personally. Even when you see blogs or you watch videos on YouTube on introduction to testing, unit testing, whatever, this would be the best practice, and it's good. We actually tested that we fire the weapon, we concatenate the result with the weapon status that it returns us, we check for rejection when the promise fails. So this is what we do. We create mocks, create spies, we assert on the spies. And these tests are good, but we think that we can improve them a little bit. So let's look at the problems, or maybe what we can do to make the test more readable. So the first problem is that the current weapon status is far away from the test. What do I mean by far away? Usually the mock is up in the test, the unit test can be very long. And for someone who will just enter the project and he doesn't know what the project is about, he doesn't understand where it comes from, why the assertion is can successfully shot a weapon. He needs to understand that the weapon returns this string and the cat adds the cat, and thus this is the assertion. Another problem. So you probably noticed, I repeat the mock. I copied it the way it was from the cat into the dog. So you might say, well, that's easy. You can just take the code, put it in an external file, and use those files, right? But then what will happen? We take this string, which was previously above in the test, but in the same file, and now we take it into an external file, which is not in the test, and now for someone who will come and read the test, it will be pretty much, you won't know why it's successfully shot. So it might be better to reuse, but we get the problem number one worse. And another thing is the stubs or the mock becomes really complicated really fast. We only had one resolve, one reject. What happens when we have 4 possible resolves depending on the parameter and possible rejections, and it becomes a nightmare, right? Because we use one mock for all of the tests. Bummer. And the last thing is what's up with the Q-defer. Okay, it's just an implementation detail. I don't care about Q-defer, Q-resolve, Q-resolve. I just want to test the functionality. I want to say this one should be resolved, this one should be checked. I don't want this boilerplate. It's ugly. Okay. So this is where Tada comes into mind. So basically, it's a very small. It's not a big project. It's a few simple classes. What we did is took the regular Jasmine spice and we got it a little bit better. And in order to do it, all you need to do is just create a test kit. So for CatWars, we have the CatWars test kit, and we inject the Tada module, and we just let's create the stuff that the mock for weapon. So all I did was took the interface and gave it our spice. Instead of just create spice, create Tada utils, create async func for async functions, and create func for regular functions. And that's it. This is reused, and I will use it in dog and in cat. And this is how the new test looks like. So like every good test, it has a give and when then. So give and the cat, when cat fire weapon then spy, this is obvious. Now comes the good stuff. So weapon mock fire returns successfully shot a weapon. And now the expect is very clear. You see, it's very readable. Anyone who reads it understands that what happens when the cat fires the weapon, probably just add the cat. And if he doesn't understand it, he can change a letter here and you see that it failed. So this is what I said, the start value is close to the assertion. And notice no more Q pattern. So we just wrapped it in the Tada implementation. The test looks a lot better. No timeout flash, no good scope digest, just weapon mock fire returns, that's it. And another important feature which it doesn't relate it to specifically to Tada, right? But test kits, I want to talk a few words about test kits. It's super important. Okay, what are test kits? Test kits are letting like the developer who developed a certain library, he should own the test kit. So for example, if you have an interface that you expose, for example in my account, we have the Wix dashboard framework. So every my account project uses this framework. And we want that if I change something in the framework, the other project's build will fail if I do a breaking change. So if I, as a framework developer, will give, let's say, Sergey, which develops an app on top of my framework, I will give him a test kit and he will use it. Obviously, when I change the test kit and I'll do a breaking change, his build will fail. But if Sergey would mock all of my framework services in his unit test, I can do breaking changes. I can insert breaking changes, and Sergey will be green, and he wouldn't know till staging or production that something is wrong. And it did happen to us. So it's not just an imaginary case. It happened to us more than one time. So this is why test kits are super important. And Tada is just a utility that you can add to your test kit that make it a little bit easier to write tests, but that's it. So it's usable and all this stuff. And there's more. So we handle the no timeouts. You don't need to handle the $Q and stuff. And we also saw that sometimes you want to call a specific method with specific argument and expect a specific result, and with other arguments expect a different result. And it's very hard to do carefully with Jasmine Spice. You need to kind of do loops in there. So we just added when called with args. We didn't invent any of it. Obviously, if you know Sinon or other testing frameworks, they have it also, but Jasmine Labs. So we just added it. What else? Questions? Yeah.
You should say that you have all the regular Jasmine functions.
Yeah, of course. We took a Jasmine Spy and just added on top of it. Another thing I want to say, this is not a showcase that I did on a presentation. We use it in my account almost, I think, every project. I find it really easy to work with. It's very small, and you should try it if you want. That's it.
Great.
Guys, we'll take a break of 5 minutes and then we'll be back.
כן, נתיב הסיסמה בראשם. זה הגסט בעיקרון. והסיסמה זה 054. 757. 757. 5038.
הילד ברחה? די בשביל.
עכשיו שהיא הפסיקה לשמוע את זה גם שם. זה עבר.
הם לא רואים את זה. הם לא רואים את זה.
Guys, whoa, continue. Ayala.
And I'm Ayala. I'm working on the invoices in my account. And so why do we need an invoices app? The invoices app is going to be a part of the package we give to business owners so they can manage their business. It will enable the business owner who provides services to get paid for their service. Business owner who provides services and not products or goods, and we have a lot of them and we don't give them an option to get paid for their business, for their services. And they can be lawyers, consultants, architects, designers, teachers, and so on. And usually, the store doesn't give them, it doesn't fit their business, so they need another way to get paid. The process those people usually go through when they have a deal is, for example, if I'm an architect, I will be approached by a client. I will send him an estimate, which is a price offer. After the client approves the price offer, I will do the job, and then I will send him an invoice, which is a payment request. And then the client will pay me, and then I will send him a receipt. So what we're giving in the Invoices app is we give them a way for the business owner to create and track and manage their invoices, to send them by email, and to get paid online. Let's see the flow. Okay, so in the first screen, we have some kind of first-time experience where we explain what is this app, what can you do with it, and what are the benefits. When I start now, I go on a little onboarding process. The first step, I need to enter some basic business info. In the second step, I can connect payment method. Right now, we are doing integration with Wix Cashier, which will enable only PayPal for now. In the future, we'll do more payment methods. Or I can get paid offline. And that's it. I can start creating my invoices. This is the invoice form. I can enter my clients, the date, discount. I can enter a product or select a product from the product list that I've saved. So it will be easier for me to create the invoices. And I can enter the taxes that are right from my country. And after I filled everything up,
do you set the tax for your country?
yeah, the business owner will set the tax that is suitable for his country.
And he will set the currency as well? Or it's always dollars?
He will set the currency. I mean, it can be what currency. And I can preview the invoice. This is what basically is going to be sent to my client, and I can send it right from here. I can have write some message, and click send, and then I see that the invoice, I can see a list of the invoices, and I can see that this invoice has been sent. You can see some stats. Right now there's not a lot of stats. My customer will get an email telling him that he just got an invoice from me. You can click view, and then you will see all the invoice like I saw in the preview, and you can pay right from here. You click pay. After you go through a payment process, you will see that the invoice was paid, and I, the business owner, can see that the invoice was paid. This is all the status that we can have on an invoice, and that's it. This is the whole process. Thank you.
The invoices that you send as a business, I assume they're legally divided. Is there like some sort of digital signature or something else? It can't just be
it's very different for different countries, what are the legal thing they need to have in order to create invoices. It's very different, but we aiming for the US. So this is legal in the US, but in other countries we can't say that everything we have in this app is legal. Maybe in the future we will do legal invoices for international use. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Leila. So now basically we'll go to the technical part. So I'll talk about client side of this project, and Amitai will talk about service side and what challenges we had there. So from the client standpoint, there was, it's a regular application that we started with a generator. We wrote it on a TypeScript, and the main challenges were in integration. And the first integration was with our own server. So besides REST, we also decided to use CQRS and commands, which Amitai is gonna deep dive in it and explain how it works. So basically, we took the ideas from e-commerce. So instead of sending a state or sending an object, we are basically sending a command that the user did that, and the server is storing all those commands and then changing it to events. And another interesting thing that we used in our project is instead of using a mock server JS that we all know, we used a fake node server. So basically, it's not that fake, it's a real node server that we wrote API, which basically mimics the API of our server, but we are running all our E2E tasks using that server. The idea in general that somewhere in the future that fake server node will become a real server and it will talk with RPC calls with our microservices. That was a really nice experience and loved it. At least personally, I love it much more than using a fake server, mock server. One more interesting thing is in part of the UI in our settings, we had to embed parts of site settings. And we thought about how doing it, implementing the same UI and logic. So basically what we end up doing is we change the site settings so you can extract parts of site settings and widgets, including its UI, including its logic, and just embed in your application. So now whenever a site settings changes its logic or its UI, or it wants to deploy a new version of site settings, we get those widgets, we get those updates for free. The solution was based on Angular widgets. It's a framework that Shopper built, which we heavily use in my account. So from the standpoint of invoices application, what I need to do is just write ng widget, like a directive, give it a source and the name of the widget that I want, and boom, that's it. It works. It's very nice.
And then we have a widget inside a widget, right?
Yeah, my account. Another thing I can say that we were very early adopters of Wixtab, and on the one hand it was very cool, on the other hand we suffered from it a lot. We had all the stuff that we were missing on bugs that we found, so we ping-pong with people who wrote certain components or the stuff that we were missing. But on the other hand, it really helped us as developers. We didn't need to think about fonts, colors, or something like that. So we had many cases when, in certain mocks we had one color, but in Wixtab we had another color. We just went to IE basically, and we said, here is one color that we have here, and here we have another color. So which one is the right one, and which one is the right one inside Wixtab? So it was very helpful, but we still need to do a lot of work about this stuff. And the next integration that we have is, and we're still working on that, it's integration with Wix2Share. So basically, who heard about Wix2Share? Half. So another half who didn't hear about Wix2Share. So basically, every vertical or many applications, they have integration with some payment gateways. So they need means in order to provide users the capability to get payments, either it's via credit card or it's via payment, PayPal, it doesn't matter. So basically, each vertical and each shop who wants to do that, they have to go through, honestly, very painful process of integrating with PayPal, implementing Stripe API, or whatever any other wallets and systems that they want to support. So basically, Wix2Share comes and solves all those pains for us. So there are only one point of contact that we want to be using their directives, their API, and for ours, for developers who wants to implement payment methods, it should be very easy. And so far it's working quite good. Yes, it's still work in progress. I might update you later how it turns out. We're implementing, so basically now I'm working on implementing back office for Wix2Share to get the integration with PayPal, and it's really painful. I'm doing it for a week already and they hate it. So now I can really feel the value of Wix2Share that nobody ever have to do that again. And the last thing which we took on the very early on the project is a Protractor to help us. Where's Guy? From e-commerce. No, he's not here. He's sick. So Guy, if you see that, you're an awesome guy. Everybody who worked on Protractor help us, guys, this is really awesome. So we're using it, and I strongly recommend to everyone to use it. It makes your test much cleaner, much awesome. And I gave a talk about Protractor in Kiev, and I mentioned Protractor help us. There is no similar solution in the world of Angular. This is the only one, and I really want to open source it. And this is really amazing job, guys. Thank you. Now I invite Amitai, who's going to talk about server-side and challenges there.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Amitai from Server Guild. Okay, I'll try to keep it brief. Overview of the server part of things. So what I'll talk about, our application is a Bootstrap Scala. Bootstrap is our framework we use for all the new Scala servers projects. We chose CQoS along with event hosting architecture, and I'll explain more on that later. And then payments, as Sergey said, using Wix2Share, work in progress. And the mailing is handled by the Hive API, mailing for the quotes themselves to the users. So CQRS stands for Command Core Responsibility Segregation. Now, it may sound scary, but it's a really simple concept. It basically means that you keep your writes and your reads separate. You have one part of the application which is responsible for the write side, which is the command side, and the other side is the query side or the read side. So basically, commands change the state of your system. And this is just an example. You don't have one service which is responsible for all the things. You have one command service and one query service. And the command service is all void methods or unit methods which change the state. And the queries get you the current state of the system as you need it. And it's important that the queries will have no side effects. So what are commands? Commands are meant to express user intent. For example, mark quote as paid. And they may contain additional information. For example, if you want to send a quote to customer, that's the name of the command, send quote to customer, with additional arguments such as the user email. The command may be rejected or fail if the input format is wrong or you have some kind of server error or DB failure or something like that. Of course, as I said, they just get you the current state of the system, and you can have queries specifically optimized for what the user client needs. You don't need to be conformed to these relational models, get me this resource that you know in REST, you can do whatever you want, basically. So CQRS versus CRUD, and why we chose CQRS for part of our application. So the domains we're working on are usually richer than simple relational models, and we don't want to be conformed to stick to think in terms of tables and joins and stuff like that. So we want to work with our own domain, with our own objects, and CQRS works better with that. And you can scale your reads and writes independently, but it's not a silver bullet. You need to consider where it's a right fit and when it's not, because CRUD is sometimes better. So event sourcing is a concept which tells you that you log everything that ever happened in your system, and that's basically your system state. You don't keep tables for your state and need to update them. You just append events to this immutable event store, and the current state in any point of time is just the sum of all events. In functional programming terms, it's a fault left. So an event is similar to a command, and it describes what it is, but it's in the past tense. For example, a quote was sent to some user, and its name is meant to be meaningful, so it can be understood also by product and the other people. It's immutable, like I said, you can change an event that already happened, it's in the past, and you can change the history. And it's saved in an event store. We use MySQL for that, and which is single source of truth for your application. So just a simple example of a series of events. For example, quote created, 2 line items added, line item removed, quote was sent, and payment received. In any point of time, I can infer the current state of the system from the past events.
There's only one table.
Okay, I'll talk about this later, but you have one table for the events, and you can make auxiliary tables for your views, but they are computed from this event. This is just an optimization to make your reads quicker, so you want to label all the events. Benefits of using event sourcing is you're decoupled from a fixed DB schema. I don't need to do any migration scripts or whatever. I just need to introduce the new event and understand how it affects my views or whatever I need to understand from the state. And I create, like I mentioned, tailor-made views for each part of the UI. And it doesn't have to be database tables. It can be like an Elasticsearch index if I need to add some search feature to my application, or graph or document database, or extract BI reports, or very denormalized tables which I don't need to join afterwards. They are the UI need.
Question: if you have a command that is, you said that there's you never migrate the database, right?
Yeah.
What if a command is no longer used? You need to support it forever because you don't migrate?
Well, a command is not saved actually. Just after a command is issued, a series of events are saved.
Oh, the event is not, there's no delete.
So,
let's say you can't delete anymore.
Yeah. So what usually happens, you introduce, also if you have a change in the event, you introduce a new version of that event, but you have to understand how to handle with the old event, because it's something that happened in your system and you need to know what it means.
So you have to be backward compatible.
Yeah, yeah. But we keep our events very granular, like we don't keep huge objects inside our events, so each event will affect other things in the smallest way possible.
How did it serve say?
Okay, I'll get to it. So this is a diagram I found online, but it describes our implementation pretty closely to what we did. So this is the UI, and the upper part is the command part, and the lower part is the query side. So a command comes from the UI, it's handled by a command handler. The command handler works with our domain objects and understands what the event should be produced from that command, and then it saves these events to the event store. And that's all that's happened. The user gets, okay, I got the command, it was saved. These events pass through an event bus, which you can attach all sorts of handlers that listen to these events. And for example, you can have event handlers to calculate your views, event handlers to do your messaging, send the emails, event handlers for BI reports or whatever. And these queries are supposed to be really fast because you just do a simple select query from a database which is already built for that view. So it can be very optimized. So that's basically it. Any questions?
You need to migrate your.
Okay, so if I want a new view or change a new view, I can simply delete the old one because I have all the events and I can
rebuild it.
I can rebuild it from the history. So the state is in the event, and this is just a projection of it.
So the view basically listens to the event, and but it does have its own state.
Yeah, of course, but I can dump it
And
at
rebuild
any point in time and rebuild a new one or build another one because my state is actually the event, it's not the views themselves.
How do you know when to invalidate, if you need to invalidate?
Well, currently, all our views just played at the event, and we're not live yet, so we don't have like performance issues. Once we will have them, we'll use snapshotting and optimizations. Yeah.
I think Phil asked you the question. Do you have separate tables for different types of events, like processing events, deletion events?
No, we have one table for the event store. It's basically a few tables for each part of the domain, but let's consider it the one table that saves all the events. It contains like metadata like when it happened, what instance, what tenant, timestamp, etc., and the event name and payload. This is the important part. But it's one table. Aggregated data, call it in terms of sequence. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, just on time. See you next week.